This band and our podcast couldn't be possible without these folks. So without any further ado, here is a shout out to our sponsors. Pure Body Benefits is passionate about delivering exceptional client care and advanced skincare treatments. From laser hair removal to rejuvenating facials, their expert team is ready to guide you through your skincare journey. Contact them today at purebodybenefits.com. Multiple studies have shown that acupuncture, either alone or in combination with conventional medicine, can help treat conditions such as back, joint, neck, shoulder pain, or internal like digestion, anxiety, stress, fatigue, sleep, or skin health, depression, inflammation, weight loss, etc. If you want help with any one of these things, make sure you get a hold of modernacupuncture.com. They're located in Fort Worth, Texas, in the Alliance area. If you like getting into competitions for fishing, well, go no further. Please check out basschamps.com. Bass Champs, Texas' #1 tournament. These guys are the #1 in leading tournaments all over the place, so make sure you check them out at basschamps.com. Located only 15 minutes from Denton and Fort Worth, the Mule Barn in Justin, Texas takes pride in treating every person like locals. Whatever walk of life you come from, they want to serve what everyone wants: delicious food, world-class entertainment, and cold drinks. So if you haven't been there and you're close by, make sure you go check out the Mule Barn in Justin, Texas. You can find them at mulebarntexas.com. I've been playing at this place for more than a decade. Folks, it doesn't get much better than when you go to the Blue Bayou in North Fort Worth. You talk about a backwoods gym. This is it. If you're looking for the real Texas experience, live music, great food, southern cooked, feel at home, feel like you can just watch the ball game, get a steak, get food, whatever it is you want. You want to see live music? They've got it 7 nights a week. So make sure you go out and check out the Blue Bayou, located at 12670 Morris Dido Newark Road, Fort Worth, Texas, and follow them on Facebook. All right, let's get on with the show. Here's our next episode of Blood in the Water podcast, hosted by Justin Ross and Deadwood Revival. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Blood in the Water podcast. My name is Justin Ross, and today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to try a new platform here. As you can see, Mr. Bob Simmons, bass player for Deadwood Revival, on the screen. And man, a lot of you have asked, like, can we get to know each musician? And it's hard to, because when we're all 4 or all 6 of us get on the screen, we're all, bickering back and forth and telling jokes, and God only knows what we talk about. So the answer is yes, we're doing this for you guys. So the next few are going to be, tonight's going to be Bob, next week is going to be Corey, then we'll have AC on here, and then we'll all be back in here all together. And then we're going to do some cool stuff later on down the road where Bob brings in maybe a guest, somebody that he's looked up to or enjoyed playing with, and they want to come join the podcast. They're more than welcome to come in. We'll sit here and have a conversation. So, Bob, let's just bust into it, man. Let's go back to Little Bob, little Bobby.
Little Bob.
Did you have Did you start out on a tricycle?
No, way back before Google existed. As I tell my students most of the time. Let me see. Well, so back in the, it sounds so old when I say it's back in the mid '80s. The state of Texas,
the 1900s, Bob.
Right, back in the late 1900s, the state of Texas started this thing they called the Gifted and Talented program, which is just a really sanctimonious name. But what it was like when I was in 2nd grade, they give everybody this test that you take, and depending on how you do on it, they seriously pluck you up out of your school and they put you in a different school all the way on the other side of town. And they did that because I made really good grades and did good on tests. And so in 3rd grade, they put me in this other school called Hillside Academy for Excellence, right? And the cool thing about this school is most of the orchestra programs in Texas, they start in 6th grade, right? They're the kids begin in 6th grade. But at this school, I got to start in 4th grade. And I was like, oh, shit, yeah, I wanted to play the cello, right? So So I started playing the cello in 4th grade. And as soon as I got into that school, my grades totally fucking tanked because they started giving me homework. And I'm quite proud to say that from 4th grade all the way through to college, I never did homework once. And I graduated both. Okay. So kids, aim high. No, seriously, do your homework. But,
do your homework. Yes. 100% do your homework.
Do your homework. Don't be like me. But so yeah, I started playing the cello in 4th grade, and I was struggle busting it hard. I wanted to be so good. But I was playing it way too hard. I was just like I was trying to saw the damn thing in half. And when I got to 6th grade, my orchestra teacher, his name was Brian Peacock. He's a father that I never had. I still get to play with him. That's for later on. But he's a bass player, and he saw me struggling. We had like 8 cellists at our middle school and no bass players. So he literally gives me no choice in the matter. He picks me aside one day and says, "Listen, I'm going to show you how to play a bass." And he put a bass in my hands, and that was it. That's kind of
what was his name again?
Brian Peacock.
Brian Peacock.
As far as the music education scene in Texas goes, he's kind of a legend. Like people wouldn't really think about it, but Texas pumps out more classical musicians than every other state in the country. You look at all the big orchestras, the New York Phil, the LA Phil, the Boston Pops, just populated with people from Texas. And it's funny why. Because for the longest reason, I'm like, why is it so competitive? Because like my high school kids are doing stuff that is like college jury level in other states. Like, it's just, and for the longest time, I wondered why. Why is it like that? And it all goes back to football. Because Texas is awesome at football, right? And back in the mid '90s, late '90s, all of the school districts started pumping all this money into their football programs, making all these huge stadiums and all this stuff like that. Well, if you want a good football program, what do you got to have? You got to have a marching band, right?
Sure.
And if the way the fine art stuff going, if you give the band $100, you got to give the orchestra $100.
Right.
And so it just started from there, and it grew from there. But Mr. Peacock kind of started all of that. He really did. Cool thing is he taught me. I've had 3 bass teachers in my life, and he was the first one. And I twice a year, every year, playing with the Sulphur Springs Symphony, I get to share a stand with him, which is at the same time inspiring and horrifying. Sitting next to him while I'm playing, because he's standing right there, and so he sees every single fuck up.
Sure.
I ain't never played a perfect show in my life. But he's very
Has anyone played the perfect show? No.
Right.
The answer is no to that. And if you said yes, that'd be like you are lying out your ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's like I always say, the mark of being a good musician has absolutely nothing to do with how few notes you miss. It's how well you recover from the ones that you do that makes greatness.
It's true.
Yeah, but so yeah, from 6th grade on, just started playing. That I started messing around with the bass guitar when I was in like 7th grade, and completely self-taught on the bass guitar.
I was trying to pull some photos up in here, and I don't think I can do that, but I have some photos that I'll put in the editing that I'm gonna have pop up on the screen that are of you. There's one I found of you on your Facebook where you're playing guitar and some chick is singing, and I was like, "What is he doing? You stay out of my whip. Get out of there. Get out of there. I'll fucking hire a piano player."
Yeah.
Out of that.
I definitely don't call myself a guitar player at all. I know how to build chords, and that's about it. I mean, just in the same way that I'm sure you could fake playing the bass, I can fake the guitar a little bit.
Totally.
Like that. They're all strings. There's only 12 notes.
Well, I do have a couple of videos here that I want to pull up, and these are of so one of them I have a question about. Let's see. Let's get into here. Take a second. Pull this up. No, of course it does that. Here we go. Let's see. I think this is it. Let me get a quick look at this. No, that is definitely not it. There's this one first. So let's take a look here at this one. Give me a little bit of the background on this. I'm going to pull the screen over and make us a little bit bigger here. Give me a little bit of the background on this.
Okay, so if you look all the way up in the right-hand corner, I just missed it. But this is the beginning. This, so yeah, okay. When earlier when you were asking for video of me playing, I'm mainly a classical musician. That's been my thing the whole time.
Right.
And being a classical musician, like if you pull a phone or a camera out at a classical concert, like you're getting ushered out. You know what I mean? It's rare that I've been on video, but this is a really rare one from 1997, my senior year in high school. It's the All-State Orchestra.
And do you have a full head of hair in this video?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's why I can't find you.
Yeah. I have a full head of hair, and there's so many of us there. Everybody's so serious. This is the thing. Like this is in Texas. There's this thing called the TMEA. It's the Texas Music Educators Association, and they do this thing called the All-Region, All-State Orchestra thing. And what it is this audition process that you go through. And like I'll put it this way: like this year, there were, I think, altogether 1,100 bassists that auditioned.
Oh my God!
And they picked 8 from the entire state.
So in this, did you guys end up winning this?
Well, see, so these are all the winners.
Oh, these are all the. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So this group of young musicians, they're from all over the state, and what happens is every February the TMEA has a convention where they bring all the winners from all the auditions in, and they do a couple days of rehearsal, and then they get to play some really fun stuff together. But yeah, so this is kind of the culmination of half a year's worth of practicing, and you're playing with a bunch of strangers. These are all kids,
right.
You know, some of them are from Plano, some are from Waxahachie, some are from Houston.
Right.
It's a really, see, I'm in the dark. Yeah. It's a no tattoos either, so
yeah, I can't see the fingers.
Yeah. But it's this double-edged sword because it is so strenuous. It's like I had 2 students that actually made this orchestra this year, and it is from May to October. It takes about 4 to 6 hours a day of practice to do it. But in doing it, like, because I made it all 4 years of high school, and it's an automatic check, free ride to college type thing. Like most of these kids are I bet most of these kids are playing in professional orchestras now. Most of them ended up being.
And you said this was in 99?
97. This was my last year of high school.
Okay. Is that you, the blonde kid with the curly hair?
No, I'm all the way in the back.
You're in the shadows.
Yeah, I'm in the shadows.
All right.
But so that's playing Mahler 7. That's a fun one. But
now I know why you were so pissed off when we played at Mule Barn and you were in the dark for our release.
I was always in the dark, but that's
fair.
And that's the thing. That's the thing that sucks, is being a classical musician, you're rarely filmed, especially with me, as I'm more of what they call a sub player. So
right,
I don't have a permanent seat in any orchestras. I'm the guy that I get the call, and they're like, "Hey, we need you to come fill in this week," which is cool in of itself. There's not that many dudes in the neighborhood that I can think of, me and like 4 other guys that do that, but it's cool because I don't have to audition for gigs anymore, because the audition process is gnarlier now than it's ever been.
Now you went from that to this, which is incredible.
So, okay. So this is okay. So there's a story behind this one. This one is not me playing.
Okay.
I've played this song, but because there's so little video of me playing, and you're asking about like where I come from and where it is, if I had one piece of music to give to the entire world, right, for them to know me by, this would be it. I'm not a super religious guy.
Let's listen to it a little bit here.
And it starts with these guys.
Yeah, of course it starts with band. That's why you love it so much.
This is a London Symphony. Here comes the basses.
That's so awesome, dude.
Yeah. This is and the funny thing is everybody's heard this song. This is Ode to Joy.
Right.
And like if you think about the actual logistics of how this song came about, like I said, I'm not a religious guy, but if there's proof of miracles, it's this song.
Yeah.
The guy that wrote this 250 years ago, 260 years ago, was stone deaf. He never heard a single note of it. Right.
Wow.
And what he did is there was silence in his head. And he put it down on paper. And he was able to make that piece travel across the world, across the centuries. And a crew of 300 strangers is able to read it and create a moment that decorates a piece of time.
Yeah.
It's just miraculous. And there's a really cool, like, music theory speaking. He goes through a couple key changes, but there's this, a lot of times when you listen to opera music and you're like, oh, it sounds so beautiful, I wonder what they're talking about. Like, there's a couple of Mozart arias in a couple of operas where it's the most beautiful sounding song, but these chicks are talking about murdering her husband. You know what I mean? It's right. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of those, this is the very first time ever in a symphony that a composer actually puts a full choir in with the symphony. And this is one of the few spots where the actual translation of the words actually makes it more profound, because everybody, like all of his contemporaries, most people hated Beethoven because they didn't know he was deaf and he ignored everybody. Everybody thought he was a jerk. He never really had a great love of his life.
Right.
People treated him like crap, but he writes this song called Ode to Joy. And he's talking about joy, lifting up men beyond where cruel custom has separated us. And like just a word like that. And there's this cool part because it's like he knew it was going to be magical when he wrote it, because there's this one spot where everything just goes honk and stops, right? And then the tenor just stops and says, "You owe you millions across the world. This kiss is for you." Wow. And it's like when you're listening to that song, it's like he wrote this for me. He was thinking of you when he wrote this 260 years ago.
Right.
And yeah, like anybody who hasn't, and you don't have to listen to the entire hour-long thing of it, just the fourth movement. It's if you can't be moved by this, you're something. You need to
get it right. Right, totally.
Yeah, I've gotten to play this song. I've only gotten to play it once in my life. I've played all the other Beethoven odd symphonies, but 9, it's a hard one to put together because not only do you need a full symphony, but you need a full choir of about 150 people as well. So it's a tricky one to put together. And actually, so this is how much I love you. I turned down playing that show last month.
Did you really?
For Deadwood, yeah.
At Albert, at same place?
No, it was going to be here in Dallas. Yeah, no, they called me. They wanted me to sub for it, and I'm like, oh, got a Deadwood show.
Yeah, man. Well,
I love you guys.
Yeah, it's like, well, man, listen, I'm sorry.
Don't be, man. I love it. But that, like in retrospect, like hearing like everything that I've done in the past, I mean, I've messed around with bands and everything, never anything big, but like what we do is so far removed from what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
But I think it's fun because I do bring a lot of that into what we do.
Well, and as you do, man, that's something that, I wanted a lot of people to understand that, everybody comes from different backgrounds. Like when we get into Corey, you're going to see a lot of bluegrass stuff. When we get into AC, you're going to see a lot of hip hop to funk and all kinds of things going on there. Mm-hmm. And a diversity of, he's made a lot main drum line, mm-hmm. And so I think that's the beauty that makes Deadwood. But there's a moment in time with this band that we actually got to capture live on film. And that's this video. And man, holy shit. Like, when we did this at Lava, there's this part, and I'm going to skip down to it. I'm just going to get to the balls here. But, you're going so fucking hard to the paint that you break the bow. You had like a $4,000 bow, and you can see it on our faces. You and I look at each other like, holy shit! Like we're first of all, we're freezing. We're freezing our ass off.
That was a cold night,
and it like our fingers are numb. This is the last song. We're giving her all we got at this point right here. You know, and this whole song, Take Me Back to Texas, goes through all these different cover songs and stuff. We kind of match them together. Then we turn it around and come back into Take Me Back to Texas. And if you keep an eye across here, watch Bob's right hand, and you'll see when we're doing the build, you're just falling into this fucking thing like you're breaking it. Like, what a moment this was. Like that poor Yamaha I'm playing, I just murdered the dog shit out of it on these fucking reruns.
Yeah.
Not to mention I can't feel my fingers. But look at you, right here, dude. Snap. This looks like you threw a snake over to the side of you. And we're looking at each other like, oh, shit. You know, and you're just back, you know, but what a feeling. But when a lot of people think about Deadwood, you know, they hear the music and what we do. And I think it's good to do this so that people realize where like you're coming from and where the rest of the band's coming from. And this is what's making this band go like this together. Because so many bands, anybody can get an upright player and a fiddle player and a banjo or a guitar player and do things. Sure. You know, but it's all how it's all how it unifies as one together. And, you know, even in this part right here, I mean, we're all in as one right here.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun night.
I mean, the fucking stage is just shaking. I mean, we're just...
You know what my goal is as a band? Ever since that happened, I tend to be a little more careful on that part because I can't afford to break
another bow. Yeah, no, I get it. Like when I'm getting into it like that and I'm doing that rundown, I feel like I'm about to just. That's why that Australian guitar that sits over here, the Harley Benton, I was like, there's no fucking way I'm playing this live. Like I'll use it in the studio. It sounds great. There's no way I'm about to do that to that guitar.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I'm going to snap this toothpick in half. You know, like, and I've done that before. I've broken neck on a guitar right on stage, my big ass. And I've been like, well, show's over.
Right. You know. My whole goal is to get to the point to where I can break a $4,000 bow and it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, of course, right? Yeah, well, I mean, I also want a fucking Ferrari that I can throw down a mountain, you know. But
true enough.
We'll get there one day. I don't think I'll have a Ferrari, but that's the point,
right? No doubt. No doubt.
You know. So, yeah, man. So that's cool. That's really cool. So you, and then you also, so like through early 20s and on, you got into playing with a lot of like funk bands. And just you weren't really committed to a band. You were just kind of bouncing as a musician for the long. Let's talk about commitment, because you know that was one thing you said to me, like when you came into Deadwood. You're like, I'm not a joiner.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to join this.
Yeah, dude, I tell you, it's scary. I tell you, the couple years, you know, it's been 2 years now that I've been with you guys, have been just about the scariest of my career, because like for my entire career, I set it up like that because, man, I love the fact that like throughout my whole career, like Friday night I'm doing classical, Sunday night I'm in a Broadway show tunes pit, you know, Monday night I'm gonna do some jazz, Tuesday night I'll play some funk, Wednesday night. So the scope of everything that I get to do, because so many young bassists and musicians these days, they get pigeonholed to where all they do is rockabilly. That's it. All you do, and you don't even do old country. All you do is play psychobilly slap bass, and that is it. You'll never do anything else.
Right.
Or all you do is hardcore heavy metal, or all you do is jazz. And I never wanted that. Because I love music. I love it all. I can find something I like in pretty much any piece of music, and so I want to play it all. And so I was always doing stuff. I was always working. Granted, I didn't get the degree, and where that's leading is I didn't get the degree of musical intimacy that I have with you guys. Right. I had some repeat guys I play with, AC, I'd play with him ever so often, but a lot of, like keyboard players, I'd run into him once or twice and never see him again, stuff like that. But this is the first time in my career where I've had, pretty much all of my eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Right.
Which, is cool because, it leads to investiture, I'm invested, and it's worth it because I would never have settled in with any of those bands because that's all they do. On Monday nights, that's all that band did was jazz. That's all they did. But like I tell a lot of my bass playing friends, they're jealous of me because the one thing that I always say is like absolutely every single thing that I know how to do, I get to do in a 2-hour show with you guys.
Sure. And I think too, it also goes like across the line. Like you're saying, like, when we write or when we cover a song, like this one right here, I was going to bring this up, man, because so many people like this, they know this song, but it's the way we presented it in the front that comes into play. This is written by Scott Copeland. This was performed by Cross Canadian Ragweed, and we took something. And what the beauty is, nothing about those guys.
No, I never met
Corey does, but you and AC have no clue. Like you're like, whatever, So we just do what we do, and it makes it beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I will say that's my favorite thing about you guys is you give me the freedom.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's rare to get the kind of freedom because, bass players a lot of times are kind of told to sit in the corner, shut up, and play the root in the fifth.
Sometimes I wish you would.
Yeah, the bass can do so much more than that.
just for 3 minutes on one song, I just want you to root in the fifth.
But see, that's the thing is I can list off at least like 4 or 5 songs that I do that.
I know.
I'm not opposed to doing that. I do it when necessary.
One day we're going to end up writing a fucking banger tune without even trying. It's just going to be the simplest, most stupidest thing we've ever done. We're going to be like, that was it? That was it.
Right.
Oh, now we're stuck singing about oranges and apples for the rest of our fucking life.
See, that would be the one that like on stage we all switch instruments.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be. Bob, I'll take you play guitar.
Right.
Corey, play the skin flute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But like that's
man. Like we work this in, and that's what's making me really excited about like the stuff that we're working on now, and where we've progressed to through this this past year. You look at the progression going forward, and it's fucking up there, man. Without a doubt, it's up there. Like, I mean, Game of Ghost is a fucking... Dude, we play that on Friday in front of Everclear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That second song out the gate. You have intro, The Creep, and then Game of Ghost.
Yeah.
So technically it's the second song out the gate because the intro is just the intro.
Yeah.
But we're going to come out of The Creep into Game of Ghost?
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And it's funny, I could hear when you were showing that song to us, like what your original thoughts are on what it should be. And it was good. Don't get me wrong.
It was just folky. It was like a folky. Yeah, I didn't expect it to go that way.
Yeah, and I'm like, in my head, I'm about to twist his shit up in 100 different directions, and he's gonna love it.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point of us getting in a room and rehearsing together, because it's like some shit that I might write here is my way, but then we get into a room together and we start throwing our ideas into the pile, and then we throw it in a can, spin it around 20 fucking ways, and kick it out down the street, and then this fucking song falls out, and we go, holy shit. It's either really bad or it's really good. There is no in between. The in between is what we started with.
Right.
And so
with that being said, that's what makes Deadwood Revival so awesome. Like, I'm just gonna boast on it because it is fucking epic.
Yeah.
You don't know what's coming next because the diversities are all the way across the line. And so, and then it's really cool too, because we not only get to see you on upright, but then we get to see you, pick up electric bass, and then you see this other side of you. Like, you just see this, it's almost like, what's great about it is, like, a lot of bass players, they try to master that, not the upright, the electric bass. Right. They're trying to master that. They're trying to be the best they can at that. And you come off of playing upright to a 6-string, 7-string, 7-string, 6, 5. Okay, 5-string, a 5-string bass, and you're doing shit on that 5-string. Whatever. And you just fucking flow through it, and then they're looking at you like, that's the most fucking amazing thing I've ever seen. And you're like, yeah, I didn't play it the same last night. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just fumbling through, but it sounds great to me, I guess. But people see this side of it and just go, holy shit. And then you switch back over, and it's kind of like watching Corey switch from banjo to fiddle, and me just switch guitars.
Yeah. I definitely think those two instruments, I definitely find Corey switching between the banjo and the fiddle to be way more impressive than what I do, because the upright and the electric may not be twins, but they're definitely cousins. And right. I've tried to sit down with the banjo a couple of times, and I just don't get it. It's amazing.
I've got one in the other room. I still don't get it.
Yeah, I just don't get it. And the fact that he can go between those two instruments I
think it's because he played mandolin for so long. I think that falls into it a little bit. I know the chord structures aren't the same. I don't think they are anyway. I don't know enough about it, but I did hear him when we had that 6-string banjo around. Like, I heard him. He's a great flat picker, and he started flat picking on that banjo, and I was like, dude, you gotta fuck around and find out, man, because that shit sounds awesome. Like, that's what you need to do. Like, you need, like, have it as a third. Do the regular banjo like you're doing, but have this one on standby, like, ready to go for one song. Yeah. Just flat pick the shit out of it. We'll hold the rhythm down.
Yeah.
But if he would, so I guess he was talking to you about buying a 6-string banjo.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was about the other week. Yeah, he was saying maybe January. That'd be good. I'm sure he could lay it down quite elegantly. That's for sure.
Totally, in a weird Corey kind of way.
Yep.
Yeah, that's our way. You want a fiddle player that's fucking nuts on a fiddle? Find one that has autism and ready to fuck.
It's so weird not having him and Linda here to fuck with.
Oh, dude, no, it's great. This is some you and I time,
Right?
Yeah, that's what this is. All right, so here's a good question for you, and I think I know the answer to this one, but I'm not gonna say it. Okay, if you could go back and bass wasn't an option, what's the other instrument you'd be playing now?
You're gonna piano.
I fucking knew it. I knew it. Yeah, because I heard you the other day. You're like, piano's actually my favorite instrument. I felt so sorry for that poor girl.
Dude.
She was like, if you ever need a keys player, just let me know. And I just immediately was like, ooh. Like, all of us, everybody stopped working and looked at you. I was like, here it comes. Bob's gonna fucking rip this girl a new ass. It's gonna happen.
I feel like I handled it diplomatically.
Sure you did. Sure you did.
I don't know, man. Okay,
he looked right at her and went, if you could play like this, we're good.
So I'll tell you, I'll be real. I'll let the people in on a bit of real. You can totally edit this out if you want, but amongst the talks of like adding another musician, right?
Right.
Here's my fear. Is we are unique.
True.
And we are unique because we have 4 very disparate parts.
Right.
And I feel like the more we add, the more we're gonna sound like everybody else. I really feel like that's the case, and I want to stay as far away from everybody else as possible. Now, I was the last one to want a drummer in the first place.
I remember.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's my fear. You know what I mean?
I think what got us to the drummer part is, like it was just like, man, every song I'm just left footing it over here, just putting it away, and then you can see it in the reaction of the crowd. Like, okay, dude, can we get a can we get something different? And it. But yeah, no, I understand. Yeah.
That's my only fear is just I love our uniqueness, so to speak. You know, it's just like we got to, in my opinion, we have such a perfect fucking cake right now.
I couldn't agree more there, my friend.
Yeah.
There is a I'm gonna see if I can pull this up here. I don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna try. So see this guy, this piano player? He's not playing keys. He's the ambience in between the bass, the banjo, and the fiddle. And he plays guitar. All those effects, that's him. Still no keys, no bass line. The banjo player is playing bass with his feet.
Right.
So that's what I'm getting at. Is like if we were to add that keys player, you know what I mean? That's what it would be.
Yeah, and I guess it's just, you know, coming from my experience with way too many heavy-handed jazz guys.
Right. No, I totally agree. Yeah.
I think that's a pain that only bass players can understand, is when you got a keyboard player that,
Are you back to just seeing me on the screen and you?
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. That was weird how that shared screen thing goes.
Yeah.
That's the kind of keys player I'm talking about. I like, you know, Chet Stevens and I were talking the other day, and like, you know, there's some keys players out there that are really great, and there's organ players, and there's piano players, and there's synth players, and you know, he works with a lot of keys players in his band because he's guitar, keys, drums, bass, right? And so Steve Hammond, who's a good friend of mine, played in Big Casino, great piano player, comes from, just like you, comes from a classical background, is a classical teacher, works with massive orchestras, still he lives 5 miles down the road here. When he came into Big Casino, you and Lane were a lot alike, because Lane was saying the same thing. He's like, man, fucking this dude's going to take over my bass lines. Like, we're just going to be clashing the whole time. And he was smart enough to shift that left hand up and to know where to play to stay out of that bass line, because Big Casino had such a fat, huge bass sound going to it that we didn't want to lose that. And we also didn't want it to get muffled up. So he rode a lot up on the top and would be playing up here and doing a lot of stuff. And then he got a Moog and he got some other things, and he started adding to it. Now his fucking setup is huge. There's shit everywhere. It looks like this office. There's just keys on both sides and shit all around him. Takes up, like, the dude needs his own platform and stuck in the back. He went out with Cody Jinks here recently and played, was on tour with him and whatnot. But do I think we need that? No. What I'm looking for is this fucking unicorn that is playing banjo, guitar, sings, plays ambient keys, and knows how to do it well. And fill that gap in between, just as if we were to bring in another guitar player and have that guitar player that knows how to, has a good rhythm, but knows how to use his effects to fill the gap. And that's what I think will keep us from sounding like anybody else. Right now, we don't sound like anybody else. But I don't think we'll cross that line adding that kind of musician in. Now, let's do the other half of that. Like, if we were to bring in a piano player that's just going to fucking dance organ all in our face the whole time, then yeah, we're going to start sounding like everybody else. It's going to have to be something different. It can't be this. It's got to be this. You know, it's got to be.
Speaking of gaps, I think it's the gaps that make us who we are.
There's just a lot of things I would like to do personally on guitar that we can't do right now because there's not that other instrument there. Hence the loop station. It would be like this. It would be like if I were to, let's use Rock and Roll in a Dream for an example. If I were to just come off the rhythm and go into the lead with the electric sound, there's nothing there to fatten the process between.
Right.
Tell me you just saw boobies.
No, saw something even better.
Oh, the puppy. Hi, baby.
Delivery.
Special delivery. Puppy in the house. Did you take her to work?
No, she's about to go do yoga, I think, and I've got to take a puppy.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you were about to tell me the dog's being trained to do yoga. I was like, man, you guys really are taking a step forward. Maybe a step sideways.
Yeah.
Taking a nap. Here you go. Puppy delivery.
All right.
This is Ayla. This is the newest member to the family here.
But I agree. If we could find somebody that could keep you off the loop station,
yeah, dude. I would love to get away from it so that I don't have to have that. I want to stand, but a lot of it's using my feet because of that loop station. And although I think the sitting is badass, but lately with the stuff that we've been doing and as power heavy as we're getting, like there's some songs where I want to stand up. I've got something to show you that I've never gotten to show you before, and I dug it out. I've got to change the strings on her, but this is my baby.
Nice.
Yeah, look at that.
Tell you, if there was a guitar that sounded like Texas, that would be it.
So this is not a Fender, even though on the headstock, if I can get it up there to it, you can see that that's a fake Fender inlay.
Huh.
This guitar, look at the back of this thing, dude.
Yeah,
it's just, she was made out of a barn door, a burnt barn from West Texas that burned down.
Okay.
The guy who built her was Zach Wilkerson, local musician here in town.
That's cool.
Anyway, I want to start pulling that out with Deadwood, right? It's got such a fucking killer sound, and it's so unique that when I was trying to use it over in Justin Ross band, that wasn't working. It was too unique. But in this band, we're unique. So this sound would fit us really well. That thing to a tube screamer and a hot rod DeVille is Jesus Christ. Like
and just so the people are wondering, like when we do start standing up, it's just going to be those two. If I'm on the upright, I got to sit down. Should I do? But I always stand on it because it's weird. I can't really play the upright standing up, and I can't really play the bass guitar sitting down. It's weird. I don't know why. That's just the way it's always been.
I mean, yeah, I saw a couple of videos of you on Facebook where you're standing up playing the upright, and one of them was like an outdoor show or something. There was this guy playing it. But I could tell by the body language, you were just like, I hate this. I hate this. Why am I standing? A lot of people ask us, why do we sit at shows? Well, we originally were sitting down just because it was like an acoustic show. But then we started doing so much shit with our feet. It was like, well, we can't stand.
Yeah.
We can stand on some songs, but we can't stand on all songs. And then it kind of grew into like this intimacy thing with the crowd where they were like, no matter how big the stage or how small, you could take it. Like we're going to do it this Friday with Everclear. There's going to be 1,000 people there and we're going to be sitting down on this big stage, but it makes it feel intimate. We're approachable. They want to watch. Yeah. They're waiting for us to do whatever it is we do, So...
Well, and me, like I tend to try to be a really healthy guy, but the funny thing is, like the standing with the upright anymore hurts because I didn't start sitting with the upright until I was a couple years out of college. But I stood for so many years. I stood wrong. I stood with my feet like angled at 90 degrees, with my right leg bent and all my weight on my right leg.
Yeah.
And I got this injury. It's called an iliotibial band strain that only marathon runners and long distance swimmers get. And it's basically, it feels kind of like sciatica, right?
Yeah.
But it goes around the outside of your quad. And if I stand and play the bass for more than like 20, 30 minutes, it does that. So, you know, I mean, hell, even the Mona Lisa's falling apart, but you know, I also like that, you know, when they see, when the crowd, like, okay, Friday night, when they see our shit set up on stage, they're coming to an Everclear show, but they see an upright bass, a fiddle, a banjo, an acoustic guitar, and they're like, what the fuck? And then we come out there and we sit down and then we just go in dry doing what we do. That's the experience. They have no idea what's about to happen to them. They never do.
No,
it is, you know, never let them see you coming.
That was what we got at Firefly last week.
Yep.
I was so worried because when we sat down, like when we got there, that girl was playing. Well, she was great. And then Libby Lane was her name.
Yep,
she did a great job. And there's only like 25 people out there. And I'm like, oh man, it must have been too cold for people to come out. It was a little cool that night. I think people were sweating it, you know, and I'm all these things start going through my head. And I'm just sitting here thinking like, man, we are set at show volume. Like we are getting ready. Like as soon as that kick drum hits, they're either leaving or staying. And after we got through that intro and we get as loud as we do during that intro and they stayed, I was like, okay, they're enjoying this. By the third song, they were like screaming. I was like, okay. And then it went from 25 to like 180. I was like, holy shit. People come from, you know, and it was same thing. It happens every time we play, man. Every time. They don't know what they're going to get.
No.
They have no idea.
No. Malgus. Sorry. Malgus is in the other. I don't think he knew I was here. Hey, dude. Quit your bitching. All right. Sorry.
So besides being a bass player and a teacher, you're a huge Star Wars fan, which, you know, I've heard you say several times that Star Wars helped get you through life in a lot of ways, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, there's nerds, there's Star Wars nerds, and then there's Bob. Okay. That's all there is. That's all it needs to be said. Yeah. But word to the wise people out there listening to our show, don't challenge him. Ever. Ever. Well, you want to know about horror movies? You come to this guy. You want to know about Star Wars? You go to Bob. Okay. That's how this works.
Yeah. Well, so like Star Wars, like all through my childhood, it was my thing. And I never really, I just gravitated towards it. My minor in college was comparative religious studies. And I was taking a religion and film class and I had to write a paper on religious undertones in a movie, and I picked Star Wars. This was around the time. This was my last year, so this was the year that The Matrix came out, and almost everybody else picked The Matrix. And I was like, no, I'm going to go with Star Wars. And I've been a Zen Buddhist since I was like 14, and I never really quite understood until like you read about like that, and I kind of gotten into physics and stuff, and so much of Star Wars rings true on so many philosophical and spiritual levels, and even scientific levels. Like when you talk about the force, I love this. Einstein proved that there's a force. Like Einstein said, the only reality is the field. And what is the force? It's this underlying current that goes through and binds everything together. That's the universe, you know, and Einstein proved that, and George Lucas wrote about it, you know, and it's just archetypes, you know, the rise and fall, the beating of yourself, the redemption, you know, it's just,
right.
Yeah. It's just, it's good to have stories, you know, I mean, I don't know. I think if there's an issue with people these days is that we don't look deep enough anymore. You know, we just don't, I don't know. I find myself,
we're in the age of surface.
Yeah. I've found myself like recently, like starved of deep conversations. It's like people are afraid to talk about that stuff. And really, when you come down to it, it's the only stuff that matters.
Right.
You know what I mean? It really and truly is how's your spirit? You know what I mean? How's your soul? Like how's that stuff? That's the only thing that matters. And that's we hate each other over 15% of things that we don't agree on.
Or things that we don't even understand.
Yeah, exactly. Understand.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, everybody is so sure that they know everything, you know, like right. I always say, man, I throw a little party in my head every time I'm wrong about something, because that means shit, I've still got a reason to be around and learn more stuff. You know, I think people have confused the word purpose with significance. You know what I mean? Like,
and people they look past things now. Like, let's look at music. Like, dude, I can remember being when I first got into Metallica, right? When I was a kid, right? Here I'd come from a country bluegrass blues background, and the majority of what I had listened to was blues from like 9, 10, 11, 12. It was about 11 or 12 where I really got into Metallica, and I was loving it. And all the kids on my street, we were all metalheads, all of us. So we all play guitar. So we're all challenging each other, like trying to learn like Master of Puppets or Orion or, you know, whatever. And I would wait 2 or 3 years for a fucking album to drop. I would be that invested into something, looking deep into what, like I bought the box collection. I saved up all the money I had, bought the box collection, and I got, you know, the year and a half in the life of Metallica, and I was invested, you know, and I would have those conversations with people talking about it. And we had conversations back then. We don't do that anymore. Like, people look over things so fast. You know, it's like we're sitting here having discussion now, taking time to do this podcast. How many people are actually going to watch this thing all the way through for an hour?
Oh, yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
You know, and so they just overlook things so quick. If it doesn't catch them in 5 seconds, then they're not going to watch the next 20.
Right.
You know, like something that happened this past week with our, you know, there was a big government meeting, and it was talking about how like they announced 100% and undeclassified, like let it out into the open, that there's aliens.
Yeah.
And they're living in our ocean. And they have proof of this.
On deaf ears, man.
But like we have 100%, wait a minute, pump the brakes. We have 100% proof without a shadow of a doubt that there is alien life form intelligently living in the darkest parts of our ocean that has its own aircrafts that are being chased by our government Air Force.
Oh, yeah.
Video of this, and it's living in our ocean. And people are like, whatever, man. But Starbucks has got a fucking sale going on today. And I'm just like, what fucking world am I living in right now?
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been totally convinced that we're just living in a simulation at this point.
Oh, dude, you and I both, man.
Yeah, I'm just totally convinced that we're just totally. I don't even think humans evolved on this planet. You ever think about that? Like if you were to drop a totally naked human being with no tools, just drop them pretty much anywhere on the planet, they'd be dead in a week.
100%.
Like if you sit out in the sun for too long naked, you die. If it's under 50 degrees for too long, you die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We did not evolve on this planet.
No.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
We're spinning 1 million miles an hour into space. Yeah. The sun's trying to kill you. The cold will kill you. Everything on this planet's trying to kill you from the day you take your first breath coming out the womb.
Yeah.
I don't think we evolved here.
I really don't think we
I totally agree with that. I think we are living in a simulation. 100%.
Yeah.
The theory of life after death into this heavenly place where the gates open and the clouds part and God comes out, like, I don't believe that at all. I think there's something beyond this.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this is just a vehicle for now. And when the license plate expires, put me into.
I think there's definitely there's definitely an intelligence around there. I often say like what we are is we're like a preschool where everybody's trying to spell the word God using all the wrong blocks. You know what I mean? It's like we're trying to put a frame around a picture that doesn't exist, and people don't even like having that conversation. It's like, because I get into it like I stay away from political stuff. I stay away. I always will. Like I'm the guy that I'll leave the room.
Right.
But if you want to get into religion, I'm all about it.
Right.
Because religion matters. You know what I mean? Where you're at like that matters. And that's the one thing with so many of them is like, dude, my God is huge. But my God's so huge that it's beyond right and wrong. To even talk about it is like a house cat trying to discuss thermodynamics.
Right.
If you say you're either delusional or a liar.
Correct.
And not knowing is the point. Not knowing is great. I love the wonder. And if I ever get better evidence, I'm totally, belief in my opinion is nothing but a crutch to get us to the point where belief is no longer necessary.
Right.
In a sense that, I don't believe the sun is going to rise tomorrow. I have experience of the sun rising. I'm pretty certain it's gonna. I think that experience. I think knowledge and belief are mutually exclusive.
Right.
Like you only believe something because you don't know.
Correct.
And so many people are, and beliefs they just go against the nature of the universe. If there's one thing in Buddhism that we always say is that this too shall pass. Like that comes from the Diamond Sutra. This too shall pass. No matter what, it's going to change. Change is going to come. You know what I mean? And beliefs
still rings true.
Yeah, beliefs don't do that. They just don't do that at all. And that goes against the nature of the universe.
Totally.
Yeah. I know we got deep there, but I guess
when you start willing things to happen, you know what I mean? Like you and I have talked about this several times.
Yeah.
And I believe totally in that. When you start pushing, like this band, we circle back around here. We come back to the band, and we want something to happen for us. We keep pushing. We just keep saying like, this is going to happen. We're going to do this. And more times than not, it's happened. We've done it, And so like, kind of like this new record, like, I don't know how I'm going to afford it fully, but I'm going to fucking do it. I'm going to get it done. And we're going to have another record coming out soon. I don't know when. I know that I have set myself a deadline, you know what I mean? And how I'm going to make that happen. So yes, I think when you I believe in energy. I believe in energy because energy never lies.
Like, I always said, like the universe is one big wish granting machine.
Sure.
In a sense that why people pray for things and they don't happen is because they say, oh, please, I want lots of money. I want lots of money. I want lots of money. And the universe says, yeah, you're right. You do want lots of money. There you go. You want lots of money. There's your reality.
Right. Yeah.
It's like a good way to say it. Like I tell the universe every morning when I wake up, it's like, if you keep the river flowing, I'm going to keep rowing. That's all I can do.
Yeah, that's all you can do. 100%.
That's why I love Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep going, man. Things are bound to work out. No doubt the universe is unfolding as it should, as my grandfather used to always say.
Right. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching another episode. That's another thing. We're not making these too long like we did the other ones. We're keeping them short and simple, letting you guys get to know each and every one of us. And we'll come back through around next week with Mr. Corey Weiss.
That'll be a good one, folks.
Yeah, it will be a good one. If you guys have any questions that you want to ask Bob, leave them in the comments below, and then we will answer those in a few weeks when we get the whole band in here, and I'll bring those questions up, and we'll just ask everybody when we're all in the room. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Like and subscribe to the page, to the podcast. We got more music videos coming out. We got more podcasts coming out. We're going to start doing this every week instead of every other week. We're going to keep this thing going. Also, I'm going to say it until we play it. New Year's Eve, we're playing at the Mule Barn in Justin, Texas, and we got Christopher
it's going to be a banger, folks.
Dude, we're going to take this year out with a bang.
Yeah.
I'm I'm waiting on an answer back from old Joey Christopher. He may be coming out to that show for us. Gary was booked that night, unfortunately. But I think we're going to maybe double up the sound system for that place for that night. But tickets are on sale now at justinrossmusic.com.
Bring your adult diapers.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Tickets are on sale at justinrossmusic.com. You can also find out all about everything we do at deadwoodfan.com/our info. So make sure you check out both of those, and we will see you next time on another episode of Blood in the Water.
Love you guys.
Peace.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you.